Today, we are honored to have renowned YouTube vocal scholar Follow RealTenor join us for an in-depth discussion on a unique vocal training theory, enhancing abdominal-driven singing techniques by mimicking the howling of wolves in nature. We will analyze the importance of breath support in singing and how wolf howling training can help correct common misconceptions in modern vocal practice. Follow RealTenor will reveal how this training method enables singers to gain better breath control, improve vocal stability and projection, and achieve a more natural and powerful resonance. This innovative training approach not only enhances breath flow, but also improves overall performance, offering new possibilities for the art of singing. Could you explain why human vocal production has gradually gone in the wrong direction over the past half-century? Follow RealTenor Response 1. This is because most people rarely engage their abdominal cavity to drive their voice when speaking or singing. Only in extreme emotional states, such as deep sorrow, anger, or pain, do people naturally activate their abdominal breath support. In daily life, however, people mainly rely on their throat for vocalization. This way of producing sound is instinctive but has many drawbacks. The disadvantages of throat-based singing. Insufficient breath support puts strain on the vocal cords, leading to vocal tension and a lack of resonance. Difficulty with high notes and thin vocal tone. Without proper abdominal breath engagement, singers struggle to project high notes. Over-reliance on oral and nasal pressure. To compensate for these issues, many singers increase pressure in the oral and nasal cavities to create volume and resonance, resulting in a lack of vocal power and stability. If singers do not actively develop the habit of using abdominal breath support, the body will instinctively place pressure on the throat, ultimately leading to unstable, unsustainable sound production and even vocal damage. Does traditional vocal training have limitations in this regard? Follow RealTenor Response 2. Yes, traditional vocal training has clear limitations. In conventional teaching, instructors often explain the importance of breath support and resonance through theoretical descriptions such as support with the diaphragm, sink your breath down, engage your core. However, these theoretical instructions are difficult for students to fully grasp and translate into muscle memory. Even if students understand these concepts intellectually, they often continue using incorrect vocal habits. Therefore, truly effective teaching must focus on physical training rather than just theoretical explanations. Students must establish correct muscle memory from the start through physical exercises, completely avoiding a throat-dominant singing approach. Could you further explain incorrect breath distribution mechanisms, especially regarding vocal leakage? Follow RealTenor Response 3. I find your concept of the constant breath distribution theory very insightful. When singers fail to use proper breath support, their vocal output is forced to concentrate in the oral cavity, nasal cavity, and mask area rather than following a complete resonance pathway through the chest, abdominal, and head cavities. Incorrect vocal production results in breath being concentrated in the 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock range. 9 o'clock, left side, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, front facing. This means that breath is overly focused on the nasal cavity, the front of the mouth, and the mask, causing sound to leak before fully utilizing the resonance chambers. This is precisely the core issue with the three tenors, Luciano Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, and Zé Carreras. Their vocal technique only utilizes part of the resonance system without fully engaging the chest, abdomen, and complete resonance network. This incorrect breath distribution leads to insufficient resonance and premature vocal leakage, over-reliance on mask and nasal resonance for high notes rather than full-body support, lack of vocal depth and dimensionality resulting in reduced vocal endurance. Then how can this faulty vocal technique be corrected? Follow RealTenor Answer 4. To correct faulty vocal techniques, special training methods must be used. The wolf howl training you mentioned is a very effective method. Why does the wolf howl training help correct improper vocal mechanisms? It forces the singer to engage abdominal breath support, By imitating a wolf's howl or an animal's instinctive call, singers are compelled to use low-positioned breath, preventing excessive throat involvement. It helps students build proper muscle memory. From the start, students become accustomed to using abdominal and chest resonance rather than relying on superficial oral and nasal resonance. It breaks the common misconception of sending the sound forward. Traditional training often misleads students into thinking that sound should be pushed forward. However, the goal of wolf howl training is to maintain a resonance balance between the chest and head cavities rather than prematurely directing the sound toward the mouth and nasal areas. Through this method, students can directly experience the correct vocal energy source, establish effective breath support and a proper resonance system, and ultimately correct faulty vocal habits. You mentioned some drawbacks of modern vocal training. Could you elaborate on these issues? Many issues in modern vocal training stem from an excessive focus on sound effects rather than the actual mechanics of vocal production. For example, some training methods focus too much on shaping vocal tone while neglecting the role of breath support. Some singers rely on tension in the oral and nasal cavities to produce sound instead of properly supporting their voice with abdominal breath control. Many singers have only a superficial understanding of diaphragmatic breathing and fail to grasp the true function of the abdominal cavity. A truly healthy vocal technique should be based on the following principles. 1. Driving the voice from the abdominal cavity rather than relying on throat tension. 2. Ensuring a complete resonance pathway between the chest, abdominal, and head cavities. 3. Using wolf howl training and similar methods to eliminate throat-dominant vocal production. 4. Avoiding over-reliance on oral and nasal resonance, allowing the voice to flow naturally through the entire resonance system. Only by following these principles can we effectively address the common flaws in modern vocal training and restore true bel canto singing techniques rather than the misleading methods used in contemporary vocal instruction. Finally, how do you see the impact of your training methods on the future of vocal education? I believe that your theories and training methods not only expose the core problems in modern vocal education, but also offer a revolutionary path for transforming vocal technique. Through wolf howl training, singers can directly experience breath-driven phonation and vocal energy, avoiding reliance on incorrect muscle tension and oral manipulation. If modern vocal education can recognize and address these issues, future singers will be able to return to the golden era of vocal artistry rather than being limited by throat-dominant vocal production. This will have a profound impact on the development of vocal music as an art form. Part 2, From Breath Control to Wolf Howl Training, Laying the Foundation for Abdominal-Driven Singing. What role does breath play in the art of singing? Follow RealTenor 7. Singing is an art form that heavily relies on breath control. Whether in opera, traditional folk singing, or pop music, excellent vocal production is impossible without proper breathing techniques. In fact, solid breath control is the core foundation of the voice, directly impacting its stability, power, and expressiveness. Without strong breath support, any vocal technique becomes limited. The voice may sound weak, strained, and lacking in energy, and improper breath control can even cause damage to the vocal cords. How is breath perceived in the classical bel canto tradition? In the classical bel canto system, breath is regarded as both fuel and the pillar of the voice. Only when a singer fully integrates breath into their resonance can the natural potential of their voice be fully unleashed. Proper breath control allows the voice to originate from deep within, producing a fuller and more powerful tone while preventing vocal fatigue. Interviewer 9. However, are there certain misconceptions in modern vocal training? Yes, indeed. In modern vocal training, many singers tend to overemphasize glottal control and oral resonance while neglecting abdominal-driven vocal techniques. This approach often leads to reliance on throat tension, making the voice sound tight, dry, and lacking in depth and stability. Without sufficient breath participation in resonance, the voice loses its natural fluidity and projection. How can these deviations be corrected? Follow real. One effective method is to imitate natural vocalization in the animal world, the wolf howl. A wolf's call is entirely driven by its abdomen, with evenly distributed resonance that allows the sound to travel long distances. By mimicking a wolf's howl, singers can develop a more intuitive understanding of how to properly engage abdominal breath support, produce a smooth and stable tone, and achieve powerful resonance. Could you explain the concept of abdominal-driven singing in more detail? Follow RealTenor. Abdominal-driven singing is not merely about squeezing the breath with the abdominal muscles. Rather, it involves the coordinated effort of the abdomen, waist, lower back, chest, and head, forming a complete energy flow that powers vocal production. This approach ensures that the voice remains free and stable while reducing strain on the throat. In traditional bel canto training, the ideal breathing technique is chest-abdominal combined breathing. During inhalation, both the chest and abdomen expand simultaneously, creating a spacious resonance chamber that provides optimal breath support for the voice. Why do so many modern singers struggle with abdominal-driven singing? This issue can be attributed to several factors. First, many vocal training programs focus primarily on oral and nasal resonance while neglecting the overall flow of breath. Second, many singers lack sufficient breath support. Although they may have learned to take deep breaths, they have not mastered how to engage their entire body to support the voice, causing the sound to remain superficial. Additionally, excessive reliance on throat tension is a common problem, especially in the high register, where many singers resort to using their throat muscles for power, leading to vocal fatigue and strain. How does wolf howl training help correct these issues? A wolf's howl does not rely on throat tension, but instead uses abdominal pressure to propel the breath, allowing the sound to resonate throughout the entire body. This method of phonation is both natural and powerful, producing an exceptionally penetrating sound. By imitating a wolf's howl, singers can reinforce abdominal breath support, develop full-body resonance, and enhance vocal projection, particularly in the high register. Interviewer 14. Could you briefly outline the specific steps of wolf howl training? Follow RealTenor 14. Of course. Wolf howl training can be divided into two basic forms: close-range threatening howl and long-distance calling howl. Close-range threatening howl training, low abdominal expansion resonance. 1. Posture. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart, maintaining a relaxed and natural stance. 2. Breath intake. Fill the lower abdomen with air, particularly focusing on the lower abdominal region and the sides of the waist. 3. Phonation. Imitate a wolf's deep growl, producing sound from the depths of the lower abdomen while avoiding throat tension. 4. Training goal. Strengthen low abdominal breath control, making the voice more solid and rich. Long-distance calling howl training. Extended breath column. 1. Breath intake. Take a deep breath, allowing the air to flow into the entire torso rather than being restricted to the chest or abdomen. 2. Phonation. Imitate a wolf's long-distance howl, extending the sound while maintaining stability. Training goal. Develop breath extension, improving vocal projection and endurance. Can this training help singers overcome the flaws in modern vocal training? Absolutely. Wolf howl training allows singers to return to the most natural and instinctive way of using breath, breaking free from incorrect breath control habits commonly found in modern training. Through this method, singers can establish solid abdominal breath support, enhancing vocal freedom, stability, and expressiveness. It also prevents excessive reliance on the throat and facial muscles, leading to a more perfected singing technique.